Team Barberspan SP pilot Chris Visser and his co-Jaapie Baardhorst, it was the end of the desert road.
Yeah, we were sitting behind the Kaap the whole morning and like maybe 20 kilometers, and there was like a swerve in the road and I was a little bit too quick. The bakkie back end moved to the left and there was a small tree on the left hand side and clipped the tree. It actually broke the shocks at the back and the tram rods at the bottom that's holding the axle in place. That broke off. The bakkie slided and we were like the bakkie was in the road, so just tried to get out and get the guys not to T-bone us. I mean, we just fixed it to come out, so unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate.
Disappointment doesn't have a nice taste, does it?
Especially not after having gone 800 Ks already.
But off-roading is cruel. In second in Class B, it was Derek Du Toit and James Hutton in their bat, closing in on De Bruyn and Brits with every second.
With a slightly modified Raysonics Nissan hardbody in second in Class D.
But now they were 17 minutes down.
A lot more air conditioning on that car now than when they started off. Toyota was still smiling as Class E leader Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux came barging and busting by. They had a 20-minute lead.
With Jack Peckham and Lucio Santoro setting the times for the lead in Class E in the diesel Ford Ranger.
But Roald, here's the rub. They were feeling the heat as Debold van Breda and Johan de Toy were closing down on them at a rate of knots.
And indeed they were, Arnie. After 3 hours of racing and just before the DSP, it was two-time seasonal winner Duncan Vos and Louis Weitgeld who were being hunted by a whole gaggle of very eager super production car class racers.
And Henry and Maurice Matten's Nissan Ryobi steady as she goes in 9th place and leading Class D.
And for Shamir Variawa and his co-driver Siegfried Rousseau, it was a matter of keeping it on the road, keeping her pointed in the right direction and not erring at all. They were just 2.5 minutes ahead. The Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race nears the finish line right after this.
Keep that seatbelt fastened.
Vehicle and asset from ABSA, going off the beaten track to find solutions.
After 200 kilometers of racing at the designated service point, which demanded a 15-minute decontrol, it was Duncan Vos and Louis Weitgeld in their Sasol Nissan Navara that led the procession home. The car showed the scars of a very tough route.
Roald, it was rough stuff out there. In the Toyota enclosure, the mechanics surveyed the damage, while Mark Grenier explained just how that dent actually got there in the first place. But they were working to a very well worked out strategy.
We've had a good race up to now. We had a small incident early this morning and we decided let's just take it easy. We've still got a long way to go. Duncan was right there, caught us up in a long straight, and we decided, no, well, you know, we can't keep on like this. We're gonna destroy something. So we let him by, but we've been tagging him all the way. We had a small wrong start just at the back here, and he managed to get a bit away. But we'll see. We've still got 200 k's to go, so hopefully we can put it together.
So it's turned into a great contest between Nissan and Toyota.
It has been. I hope he returns the favour. We moved over quite nicely for him, so hopefully if we catch him, he'll return the favour.
And the vehicle? Everything okay with the car up to now?
Yeah, the car's really going great. So the guys have done a tremendous job. I mean, as you can see with the results so far, it's just getting better and better every race.
But the final 200 Ks were still laying in wait.
Too true, Arnie, and the Ford squad knew that better than most. Woolridge has won here 3 times, twice with Schulthammer, and their experience and the solid reliability of the Ford Ranger made them a solid bet. How was it, Neil?
Just battling in the sand this morning, and we picked up 2 punches again. One right near the end here and one a little bit earlier on. The car's washing at the front quite badly. We had to change the dampers last night, and I'm not quite sure if we got the setting 100%, but although it's okay. We've lost a bit of time to the leaders, but
still got 200 k's to go, so keep it going.
A common theme in off-road racing, just keep it going. And the thorns and severe Kalahari bush was hell on the car's branding.
Variawa and Rousseau sprinted to the DSP with a look of glee in their eye. They hadn't been in this position in a while and were relishing the opportunity.
And what an opportunity it proved to be for them. Krobler then also made his way to the Nissan paddock, but for the Total Motorsport lads, it was dusty and very hard in the trenches.
Baie tight, vinnig, baie tight, maar baie stowwerig.
Enige probleme met die kar tot dusver, Siegfried?
Geen probleme so ver nie, ons het 'n clean run, net 'n bietjie stof, verder gaan ons nou maar net aangaan tot by die einde.
You see, there's that theme again. Just do it, as the saying goes.
Grenier and Birkin saddled up and rode on out.
While Nissan Motorsport manager Glenn Hall contemplated some damage to Grobler's car, and Grobler contemplated the last 200 Ks.
Yeah, very, very well. We didn't have any problems this morning, except a lot of dust, but the car is going very, very well. And I think we're on the pace, and I'm not sure what the times are at the moment, but we're happy. I think there's another 200 kilos. If we can go that well further on, I think we can run into a good place.
Now, Hannes, it looks like you've caught up 5 or 6 minutes. A great run?
That's possible. That's possible. But I'll be glad if we can take another 5 minutes, then we're going to be close.
Mr. Positive, as always. For Nick Harper and the big Atlas Copco bat, there were several positives after almost coming to grief, trying to get by Variawa.
Just before the DSP now lost a place. But we caught up to Shamir early on and tried to get through, but it's very dusty. Almost crashed, so we back down again, wait for another opportunity, you know.
But now it was time to recall their win 2 years ago. Good experience to draw on.
Yeah, this is our home stretch, so a lot often happens in the last 50 k's of the desert. So we've won it before in the last, took the lead in the 100 k's to go 2 years ago, and won it like that way, so anything can happen from now on, you know.
The Colin Matthews-Alan Smith combination were keeping a beady eye on the proceedings and were pleased with their day's work, dusty or not.
No, it's good. It's very dusty. Haven't had any yet. We just took Atlas Copco right now, 3 minutes before the end. We've been stuck in the dust the whole day. Alfie's had a puncture or two. He's overtaken us. We've let him pass. A Ford's come past. Nearly hit a Toyota. Caught him at the D-control. Turned left. 3 k's in. He put it sideways. He ran, jumped outside. Stopped us. We went round. He was all okay, so we just carried on. Hope the guys are right. We'll see him at the end. We got 9 minutes.
Taylor was doing an unbelievable job in the second Toyota. The multiple track champion has slotted into the role of off-road racer with great ease and lots of speed.
We were right up there. We caught Nick Harper, and behind him in his dust by the post on the left-hand side, we put the nerve bar into the wheel. So about 10 k's later we had to stop and change that because it just started getting worse. And we had to then take the nerve bar off, and then we carried on going. Again in the dust, tripped another tree, this time on the right. Same thing, nerve bar into the wheel, stop, take that off, and now 5 k's from the end we got another flat, unfortunately. But yeah, so far so good. Just have to keep it nice and tidy and now bring it to the end.
Draai in of draai uit om hoor te maak. As jy maak Anne, soms is dit op hoor het dan maak hy nie.
George Barkhuizen wanted a bit more from the Rubicon Toyota and was pleased with a great effort in the desert.
Michael Whitehouse himself was wearing a rather large smile. In fact, you could almost spy it through the helmet. They were ideally placed for a podium finish.
Just run in hot temperatures, you know, the radiators we can lift for next race, but otherwise we're keeping a steady pace going. But just really which one of us can keep the temperatures down. But otherwise it's going right, eh?
And conditions out there, Mike?
Nice racing, eh? Like very tight and nice flowing section, so it's awesome, eh?
And the change from navigating to piloting the Regent racing bat yourself, how's that been for you?
Well, it's great. I mean, I love the driving. It's a little bit more expensive than navigating. But good, thanks.
Defending desert champions Cully and Quinton Silveld were continuously racing with one eye on the road and the other on the temperature gauges. But then again, so was Whitehouse.
I was in tune with you, and then
That's fine. You must go. I mean, I can't race. Where's your water temperature?
Sitting at between 107 and 110.
Really?
But I've got to 138 at the moment now.
Yeah, because I'm 108 on the water, you know.
Good. Haven't got any major problems with the car. Unfortunately, we lost the GPS. It's malfunctioning, so I'm only driving on the route schedule. But the route schedule is very good. The markings are spot on. So we are doing quite well without the GPS. I think that is a big compliment to the organisers for the way they marked the route.
And that was the general consensus amongst the crews. The Zermattens were in the lead by almost 20 minutes in class and could take it relatively easy.
With their nearest rivals, Labuschagne and Gerber, filling the berth right next to them. Crews had only 15 minutes to fill up, clean up and fix up. The pressure at DSP is always immense. 2 wins this season have already taken the Raconics Nissan Hardbody to the top of the Class D Championship, but now they were feeling the pinch.
With a long way to go, and remember, with 800 kilos in their back pockets, the business end of the 08 Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 Desert Race was ahead, and we'll show it to you right here on Supersport.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Overcoming all finance from ABSA. Going the extra mile to get you financed.
The struggle for supremacy in the desert continues.
But Roald, you cannot contest it. The Nissans just got stronger and stronger as the race unfolded.
That's right, Arnie. Glenn Hall and his team were, as always, exceptional in their preparation and meticulous in their approach. And Vos and Weigelt were picking up the fruits of all that labor.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. The route, eh?
But Grenier had not given up the ghost, not quite yet. The quietly spoken Toyota driver was turning up the heat.
Woolridge and Schulthammer were desperate to taste victory here again. So far, no champagne corks had popped for the pair in 2008.
The dust was worse than ever and the setting sun wasn't helping either. But the Pietermaritzburg-based Ford outfit were desperately trying to catch up to Grenier and succeeding bit by bit, inch by inch.
Grobler was really letting the Nissan out, and he and Moore were on the warpath. As it was, he was setting the fastest split times, but try as he might, he was making no headway on his stablemate Vos.
In the lead in the specials, Varayawa and Rousseau had slightly more than a 2-minute gap, which grew a little when Harper and Chalupsky Ron slotted, but they could not relax for 1 second out there.
And Shamir certainly wasn't letting the grass grow under his wheels either. The Total Motorsport Porter was taking all the punishment and asking for more.
Taylor and Houghton too were on the pace, and the Formula V champion had a very solid showing on the way home. He just had to keep the car out of harm's way.
Harper and Chalupsky were back into second place in the specials, and his driver was overjoyed with his navigator's form. Andrew hadn't navigated in 5 years and just picked up where he left off.
But they had to watch every turn. Taylor was on top of them, and with the production cars faster than the specials, would be looking to pass very soon.
the 2006 Desert Champion tiptoed through the H2O, but was under pressure.
He certainly did not want to ride in Taylor and Houghton's dust all the way home.
But that's exactly what Taylor was thinking. Close the gap, pass, and get out of Harper's dust.
The drive of the afternoon award went to Cully and Quinton Silvalt. The defending Desert Champions drove like men possessed and jumped from 5th place to 3rd in the first 100 Ks. A tremendous effort.
While Whitehouse and Carlson had left a fine memento for someone a little earlier when their roof was ripped off. They were in 4th place, 2 minutes and 40 seconds behind the Silvalts.
Matthews and Smith in turn were 6 minutes behind them, probably just too much to really make a big push.
Oh, having themselves quite a scary moment there.
Followed by yet another.
Never missed a beat, though.
Bet you their heart skipped one or two, though.
That's for sure.
But Matthews and Smith were still piling on the pace and the pressure as best they knew. You never know what happens up front, and that's the way you have to try and race all the way home.
Marsh and Groenewald were looking for a finish. In the sugarcane of KwaZulu-Natal, they came to grief in the previous race and were desperate to finish and rack up some points.
With the locals shouting them home all the way, the Barkhuisens only had to make it to the finish line to be assured of taking 6th place in the SPs. That's up 8 places from where they started off after the prologue.
That's right, Arnie, a superb drive in very trying conditions.
Class B, the Cape crew Bez Besaidnout and Johan de Bruin in their Edenko bat outlasted the rest and were on their way to a 2nd win of the year.
With a rock-solid performance from Jaco Swanepoel and Keith Solomon in the IDM cement entry in 7th in the SP class.
They were followed by Van Tonder and Guapo, who were less than 90 seconds back.
And also had a close call with Winnie the Pooh's best mate.
The Alberton siblings, the Zamattans, brought their Rhobi Nissan home in 9th place, easily winning Class D for the 2nd consecutive year in the desert.
And in Class P, there was family joy for the Besaidenots, Johan and Etienne, who clinched the Class P win by almost 50 minutes. They drove cleverly, and it was a well-deserved victory.
Close to the finish line, there were many photo opportunities as the survivors went by.
Barbaspan teammates Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux took the victory, just 20 minutes ahead. After 5 second places here, it was finally a win for Jannie. And their Barbaspan teammates Jannie Visser and Joks Leroux took the victory, just 20 minutes ahead of them. After 5 second places here, it was finally a win for Jannie.
With 2nd in Class D going to the tied-looking Raconics team of Kutsiela Beskagni and Johan Gerber in the hard body.
They were almost exactly 10 minutes ahead of these two men, Chris Duploy and Henk Janssen van Vuren.
In Class E, that race-long battle was finally decided, but Debold van Breda and Johan de Toy never gave up.
And that's ahead of the early leaders, Peckham and Santora in the Ford, who had set the pace for more than 900 Ks.
On the run into the line, Lodebrain and Rudy Brits were more than an hour behind in the Class B race, but did a great job of getting there in one piece.
Followed by the bright orange Derek du Toit James Hutton piloted Bat in the 10th place in the special category and 3rd in Class B.
While the two Dons, that's Thompson and Blakey, were the last finishers in 11th place. The severity of the race was borne out by the numbers.
That's right, Arnie. 28 specials entered, only 11 got to the line.
While the production car attrition rate was almost as high.
Yeah, 32 starters, just 16 finishers, 50% to be exact.
Malcolm Koch and Johan de Klerk were on that coveted finish list, though.
And they were led home by Duncan Force and Louis Weichelt, a 3rd victory in 4 races. And this Toyota Kalahari 1,000 kilometer desert race added another 25 points to an already impressive championship tally.
Victory by 3 minutes and 54 seconds for the Nissan men.
And no, they weren't presumptuous enough to claim the laurel wreath. The desert hung onto the grill this time.
Cronje flattered 60 k's out and then lost rear brakes, so consolidated by just trudging to the finish line, a wise decision under the tough conditions.
Indeed it was. Cronje's exhausted smile told the complete story. 3 tough days in the saddle.
Shortham and Woolridge took 3rd, but were rearing a broken back shock and no less than 2 flats on the way into the line outside Gaborone.
Force got a hero's welcome.
And well, he should have.
Yeah, he controlled things and raced well within his car's capability and his own until it really mattered.
Krobler was 18 minutes back. That half-an-hour battle with the accelerator mechanism spring cost him big time.
And for the 3rd time this season, Duncan got to send some bubbly flying into the crowd. Must have loved that.
Not much left of the Nissan's bonnet either. It's a sight we've got used to in off-road, another dominating display from Nissan.
Speaking of domination, in the specials it was a dominating drive from Shamir Variawa. Now consider this, Arnie, he and Rousseau were 23rd overall after the prologue, but finished 5th overall. The Team Total Motorsport crew were overjoyed. And rightly so.
What a great drive by Variawa. The team very pleased indeed. A 2.5-minute win from the brand new dad and a hard-run affair. It was as Harper pushed for all he was worth, but just came up short and just.
Yeah, and for Variawa, this ended a 15-year drought. That's how long he's been trying to taste victory in the Kalahari Desert.
Yes, Toyota Desert Race this year has really surpassed all the others. The Botswana government have been fantastic. They've really supported the event. The 4x4 Club of Southern Africa, well, what an event. It's been a race right till the very, very end. And, well, next year we're going to win it. Mark came 2nd this year. We got 2nd and 5th. Really happy with the result. And to see the production vehicles coming right up front. So 4 production vehicles before the first special and 5 then before the second special. So we're really happy with the event. We're happy with the turnout, the crowds. The Botswanan people have been fantastic. And for the South Africans that weren't here, you missed out on a great event.
Voss got into his stride only on the last day, but that's the one that really counted.
Yeah, we had a great day. You know, the first 2 days we battled a little bit. I battled a bit in the time trial. And yesterday I battled, but we kept our heads together. We knew we were slightly off the pace yesterday, but I knew overnight we could do some improvements to the car, and I was confident that we could do well today, and we improved the car, and we had a really good day today.
So for Cronje, 1 or 2 small things meant a lot in the final outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some small gremlins that creeped in right at the end, and unfortunately we had to consolidate, and we need the points. So second's better than nothing, and yeah, we brought it back. It's all in one piece, and off to the next event.
Very tough conditions, Mark?
Yeah, it was excruciating. I must tell you, the last 100 k's it's almost soul destroying. You know, you're in between the trees. You don't have 1 second to just take a breather, and it's an extremely tough route. And I mean, the duration of it also, it's extremely long. So yeah, it takes its toll on you.
But it must be nice to have 2 Works Toyotas finish in the top 5, surely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We always strive to bring them in as high up as possible, but we're making progress. You know, the vehicles are getting quicker, and yeah, I think the reliability is coming to us now as well, and we're having we're having a good year.
For the veterans of the sport, this route was a bit like the old days. Neil Woolridge completely agreed.
It has been. Hannes and I were just standing here talking, chatting just now. It reminded us of the old days in the Nissan Safari and when we were in the Nissan Sani, and even back to my bike days. It was a real long, hard one, and I was glad to see the finish, I must say. Not as bad as yesterday, because yesterday we only finished at about 4 o'clock, but yeah, even today was a real tough route. It's been a long, hard Botswana race, but it's been good.
Any problems with the Ford throughout the 3 days, Neil?
You know, we've had 4 punches over the weekend, and you can't have 4 punches and win a race, unfortunately. So, but otherwise it was fine. We've got something wrong with the back suspension, and one of the dampers, I think, is blown. So we couldn't attack like we wanted to today, because we started just over a minute behind the leaders this morning, and we thought we were in with a chance. But before the DSP, there's something wrong with the back of the car. So we pretty much had to just get to the end, you know. But in saying that, it's been good. The rest of the car's fine. There's something small on the back suspension, but that's it.
So you'll be back in Botswana next year?
Yes, we'll be back next year, I'm sure.
The hosts' works cars have certainly upped their reliability, and Anthony Taylor slotted into the team very well. He was justifiably happy with his 5th place.
Yeah, I must say it's a fantastic result. You know, Castrol and Toyota prepared such a brilliant vehicle that, you know, nothing could really go wrong besides 1 or 2 punches, but no fault of theirs. It's all to my own doing, you know. Starting 6th this morning was a bit difficult in the dust, and yeah, I did have 1 or 2 little nudges with cars when I caught them, but nothing too serious. They immediately then let me go by. And then the argument that you see that the car had here was from we sort of overshot, and it was either a rock or a tree, and I know a rock you can't move and a tree can break, so I thought, well, I'll go for the tree option rather. So yeah, that's where the damage came from, was from a tree. It wasn't from bumping somebody.
The Zermattens were short on sleep. Very, very short.
We're quite pleased, I must admit. We had a bit of a long night last night. It took us the whole night to change the front differential, which we lost yesterday. So we did a bit of yesterday in 2-wheel drive, and then today we had 4-wheel drive. Well, everything was working, it was great. I'm a bit disappointed we reversed over our own mud flap and tore the mud guard off, so that, you know, we tried to keep the thing in good condition for a change, and that didn't happen either. Now we're quite happy. That helps a little bit with the points, because we had a good entry in Class D. I'm just waiting for Kutsia and Johan Gerber to come in.
Team Barberspan's Visser and LaRue celebrated a big win in Class E, and their steed made them proud.
Ja, gelukkig die bakkie het hom baie goed gedra vandag. Ons het nooit uitgeklim vandag nie. Net daar by die service area het ons uitgeklim, verder nooit nie. Gister het ons 2 paar wiele gehad, maar vandag gelukkig die bakkie het hom baie goed gedra.
Julle punte totaal lyk sommer nou nog beter. Dit gee julle 'n goeie voorsprong, nie waar nie?
Ja, ons was 10 punte voor dek gewees. Nou weet ek nie presies hoeveel is ons nou nie. Seker nou is ons dalk so 14 of 15 voor. Dit help nogal baie.
Now, come the end of the championship, every single point is crucial. Vos and Weichelt celebrate their names at the top after 15 hours of hard slog. But Toyota was celebrating no less than 5 of their badges in the top 10.
So a great performance by the hosts, and at the halfway mark of the Absa Off-Road Championship log, Vos with a 16-point lead, but the Ford Dio will also be keeping one eye on Cronje and Birken, who are just 9 points further back.
Yep, it's all very close, Arnie. And the manufacturer's points race is also shaping up to be a humdinger. Just 14 points in it.
It's all to play for in the last 4 races of 2008.
An emotional win for Shamir Variawa. The Total Motorsport man took a long-awaited victory. Just shows what fatherhood can do for a man. But he was never certain.
It's an unbelievable feeling. We've been trying. Look, I've been racing for 15 years, and I've been trying for 15 years to win this race. And today it happened. I guess the new arrival in the family, the new baby on Thursday made all the luck, gave us the luck. We got in front 5Ks from the start this morning, and we've remained there ever since. No problems with the car, just kept a good pace. And monitoring where the guys were behind us. And I tell you, this last 100 Ks has been a bit nerve-wracking.
So were you looking over your shoulder half the time, Shamir?
I think my navigator's a bit tired of me. Every 5 minutes I kept on asking, see who's behind, see who's behind. But the guys done a wonderful job on the car. The mechanics worked the whole night, sorted the car out. And thanks to my sponsors and the whole team.
Matthews and Carlson had a fine drive on the final day and took third place for the day and fifth overall.
Yeah, we're happy with the third. We managed to catch Nick. Nick got a little bit lost. We came through, we got into second place just before the DSP, and then about the 25 Ks after the DSP we got a slow right front puncture. We tried to drive it through for a while, and then we saw Nick catching us. We thought, no, we're losing time. So we pulled over, changed it, and we lost about 4 or 5 minutes, and then we just had to bring it home. There was no hope in hell of chasing these guys down.
Harper and Chalupsky's wrong slot just before the designated service point was critical, while the Sulvalds overcame severe heating, but were pleased with their new bat's performance under the cosh.
Shamir's big win on the Toyota Kalahari Botswana 1000 desert race leaps him up the order from 6th to 3rd, but that third place from Cully and Quinton Sulvald meant that they secured their place at the top yet again. Harper and Chalupsky need a big push in the second half of the season.
The circus heads for the 5th race of the ABSA Off-Road Series at Sun City at the end of July.
Until then, you keep it on the road
and we'll keep it off-road.